Hello, everyone, and welcome into crushthestreet.com. I'm Kenneth Amaduri. I got a returning guest on the line with me today. It's Sommer Sherwood. It's a me boss lady, also known as. She's with the leading cryptocurrency newsletter, blockchain newsletter, pureblockchainwealth.com. She's with a number of projects, and she's just all over the crypto space. She's an amazing influencer, and it's a pleasure to have her back on the show. Sommer, thanks for joining me here at Crush the Street.
Oh, Kenneth, thanks for that amazing introduction. I'm really just a nerd that loves cryptocurrency, but yeah, I really appreciate the intro, and I appreciate your time having me on the show. It was a fun time last time, so thanks for having me back.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, you know what? I love having people on the show that are passionate about it, because these are the people who know the most. They understand what's going on and have a pulse on the market. And I don't need to state the obvious here, but we're in a situation where cryptocurrency has really shifted. The tide has shifted, and we're in a defined bear market. And we're not seeing the enthusiasm in cryptocurrency that was seen earlier this year and, of course, last year with the epic bull run in 2017. So, having said that, I'd love to just get your thoughts here, maybe encourage some people. What are your thoughts on the space at the moment?
You know, the terms bear market and bull market, I associate them more with the stock market and traditional exchanges. I think that crypto crypto it's a whole nother world, guys. And it can be discouraging when you see your portfolio down a little bit. It kind of can get you down. I can relate, I understand, but look at it from a year ago. We're totally up. And it's not just about the actual price per USD. If we're still pricing, Bitcoin to USD, we're not there yet, guys. We still have a long way to go. We're still really, really early in the technology. And so it's not good to just focus solely on the price. Think about how far we've come in terms of the platforms and the resources that we have available to us now than we did, a few months ago, or even when the price was super high. Like, we've still come a long way. So don't get discouraged, guys. It's a long term hodl.
Yes, that's a good point. And something that you have to understand is this is just the way rising markets and falling markets and really developing markets, they act at times. And we're moving so fast if you consider how far we've come in such a short period of time. So it is really exciting. Now, having said that, what has you most optimistic at the moment? What are some of the exciting developments you're seeing that have you really optimistic about the space?
Yeah, well, it's kind of forced me to think about diversification. I got into crypto BB before Bitcoin. It was like a whole nother life. And I kind of focused completely on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency for a long time now. So it's when the market's down, it does make me think a little bit about the future and about the things that are going to be around long term. Because a lot of the projects that are on CoinMarketCap or CoinPuff.com, they're not necessarily going to withstand the long haul. And so it kind of makes me think like, well, what's going to be around, in the future? And so obviously diversification comes into that. I'm also kind of excited about the convergence of the cannabis world with cryptocurrency and blockchain. I had a friend, I don't know if you know Danny Sessom, but he did a tour. He actually got the stash bus. He went around the U.S. touring the dispensaries and getting crypto and Bitcoin ATMs put into the cannabis dispensaries. And this was about a year ago when they first started legalizing it in the US. And it kind of clicked to me that there are markets that need, crypto more than others. And, I'm in the US. So when it comes to the US, that was like a real, real need. So I think if we can focus on the areas of need, and combine that with Bitcoin and the actual use case, that we'll see more of an explosion in that area. So I don't know if you can see my shirt. I want to shout out to Kevin's Crypto. They because we talked about Canada last time. They just did a meetup in Canada about cannabis and crypto, and so there's definitely an emerging market in Canada as well. I think they're going to be making it legal there pretty soon, which is exciting. So should take advantage of those markets, I think.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? You mentioned something, And that is all sectors, or not, maybe not all sectors, being equal in terms of their need for decentralization or blockchain or cryptocurrency. And obviously, cannabis is a very growing sector, and it's a very interesting thing that you brought up there. But so I'd like to ask you then, what are some of the areas where you feel blockchain can be applied, or decentralization can be applied, and where it's more important than, let's say, other areas where they're just using blockchain for the hype and to get attention, but not really needed for the
Mhm.
underlying purposes?
Yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot of that. I think the statistics were like if you put blockchain in whatever you're doing, it gave you like 3 times the amount of views and coverage. And so definitely there's a lot of hype around that word. I think like smart contracts are the new blockchain or whatever. But when it comes to the actual use cases, obviously not everything needs a blockchain. One area that I did see a real use case with, like when it comes to cannabis, not only is Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, uh, it provides another outlet for them to receive income, because obviously the laws are kind of gray. There's a lot of gray, and so they're not always able to, accept credit card or cash or whatever the traditional forms of payment can get a little sticky. So that alone is a great, implementation and use of the actual currency. But in addition to that, the blockchain itself, the technology of being able to have an immutable ledger, something that can track from start to finish. For example, cannabis, the whole industry, now that they are legalizing it, they are super ridiculously strict on the requirements in terms of tracking that whole product from genome to consumption. There's a whole range of like check marks that have to be, the T's that have to be crossed and the I's have to be dotted in order for them to be able to stay open, these dispensaries. And so to me, that's a real valuable use case of the blockchain. If you're able to put those from the DNA of the actual cannabis, from the seed and everything from the germination, and you can track that, that's what they're actually requiring, to know where everything comes from, where is it grown. Those are the requirements. As crazy as it sounds, that's what they got to do. But using the blockchain technology to keep track of that, I mean, that just kind of makes their job a lot easier. So I think if we're able to implement the technology for supply chain and things like that, that would be a way that we could actually use it, to the best of its
Yeah,
ability.
you're absolutely right. And you have this black market. I think, I think the UN estimated that $150 billion is the cannabis market
Mm,
worldwide, and a lot of this is underground. It's the black market going from the black market into the mainstream conventional wisdom, and you need some of these on ramps for it to happen. And I really think blockchain is going to be that tool that makes it transparent, that really oils the bearings for a lot of these, to build out the infrastructure for
yeah.
cannabis to go mainstream here. It's prohibition 21st century
Mhm.
globally, and it's happening whether or not people want to believe it. Um, so, Summer, I'd love to discuss with you artificial intelligence, AI. This
Yeah.
is something we've covered a lot here at Crush the Street. You know, just let's get your initial thoughts on this AI and the world we live in and the changing dynamics of the economy.
Crazy. It really is. We've talked about this before. I think we touched on it briefly in our last conversation, that the jobs that, we see a lot of people doing right now today, I don't see them being around long term. That's kind of what spurred me to get into these decentralized art shows, was the fact that there was a need for creativity, and we have to support the creatives because that's going to be a long term thing. When it comes to these routine jobs, even driving, there's trucks driving across the country, delivering supplies that are that are robots. They're not actually people. So we just definitely we definitely want to focus on the ways that AI can help us and not hinder us. And a lot of people are scared these days. Oh, it's going to take my job, but think about it. If you didn't have to go to a job every day, well, what could you do with your time? You know what I mean? Some people get scared at that idea, but that to me is very exciting. So
Yeah,
another
well,
thing, yeah. Oh, go ahead. Go
just
ahead.
like an I'll let you continue, but just an indirect benefit of having a driverless car. Instead of you now driving the car, now this car becomes a meeting room. So if you need
Yes.
to go somewhere and you need to conduct business, instead of
Mm-hmm.
wasting an hour driving, now all of a sudden you're sitting around a table inside of your car,
Yeah.
meeting and working while you're being productive. So that's what this is all about.
Yes.
AI is the forward movement of technology, and
Yes.
technology helps us be more efficient. And because of that, we can do more
Yeah.
in a shorter amount of time.
Exactly, exactly. I think you hit the nail on the head. It's about using it to our benefit. Like for example, I'm going to go to Tampa. There's a co-working space there in Tampa, and I'm in Orlando. And I'm going to take this. It's like a mega bus, and it's got like you said, a little table, and it's got the Wi-Fi and everything. So instead of me going and driving or taking a plane, I can literally just use these things to my advantage. So I can definitely see that. I appreciate that time being able to do it on that drive. So I can imagine the benefit of being able to do that every day.
Hmm.
So definitely
Well,
pretty
look at what we're doing now, right?
cool.
We're using technology. We don't have a camera crew helping us do this. We are using technology and leveraging our time to share information in the way that we're doing it today. And how powerful is it that the internet is, leveling the playing field? People can get information all around the world, and it's we can verify it from this decentralized source, this historical accumulation of all the information that we've ever had in the universe, all on the internet, and we have access to this here. And that's along with blockchain. I mean, the internet is such a powerful thing, and I love what we're seeing here. It's
Yes,
exposing so many things. Any thoughts on AI and merging it with blockchain? Curious about what you have to
yeah.
say about this.
I feel like they are just two peas in a pod. Like the thing about AI is that, and coming from an accounting background, this made sense to me. Garbage in, garbage out. Good in, good out. So it takes good data in order to make AI of any value. You don't need AI for everything, but if you have data, which we do now, the blockchain Bitcoin has been around for long enough that we have some data to work with. Prior to the last couple of years, we didn't. There was no need for it. There was no data. If you don't have any data for the AI, it's not going to do you any good. But now that we do, I feel like there's going to be so many more opportunities to build on top of that and to take software that can use the AI to max. I mean, it just takes all of the knowledge that you have, and it's like a supercomputer. And it takes your brain. It's like your brain on steroids, and so it allows you to do things that you wouldn't normally be able to do, and it saves a lot of time. Looking up stuff and researching stuff, using an AI and really just takes it to the next level. I was introduced through Pure Blockchain Wealth. I was introduced to this company, and I'm going to actually be interviewing the founder, Anthony Lacavera. I'm super excited about this because he was very successful in other startups. So that was kind of a key indicator to me. He was from Canada, and he built this largest telecommunications there and sold it for over $1 billion. So this guy obviously knows what he's doing, and he saw the value in AI and blockchain. He's building a company that is building software that allows you to it takes the AI and you're able to, it's different types of software, so depending on what you need to do, it's customizable. And so I'm pretty excited to see like where that's going to head. The name of the company, by the way, is Global Live. I don't know if you had any chance to do any research on them, but I know AI is kind of a cool thing to you. So if anybody's
Absolutely.
interested in, like learning a little bit more about that, because it's kind of one of those things that you have to delve into. We don't really have time to talk about all of it here on the show. But if you want to go to pureblockchainwealth.com/live, that's going to give you all the information on Global Live, and that kind of will, it's a tipping point for you to be able to see all the possibilities that we'll have in the near future. Future is now, really.
The future is now. Things are moving. Absolutely. We love Global Live, and we've covered it here at crushthestreet.com.
Yeah, you did send me a newsletter.
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes, Kenneth, you're on it. That's what's up, Kenneth. Your audience is keeping in the know.
Summer, so I'd like to ask you about AI. And, we're going from a transition where, machines did menial work, low skill level work, replaced that. But AI and machine learning is going to the next level, really doing jobs that, people would be paid six figures for, analytics, data collection,
Yeah.
even drivers. And it's really kind of this crazy thing. I mean, even talking about the military, whether or not to kill somebody, having to decide and make that decision, we're going to put that into the hands of a computer to infer, gather, collect information, and make that decision. So,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on just machines really getting smart and the roles that they're going to be taking as we move forward here?
I think it's going to demand the human race to adapt or die, to be honest with you. It's going to be a matter of um, elevating our intelligence. It's going to be a matter of using those tools as a springboard to become better human beings. This is not a matter of a job per se. This is actually, life or death of the human race. When it comes down to not to the skills and the capabilities that they already have, like, if you do a little research, you'll see it's not like the Terminator is like real. Like, this is like real life. Boston Dynamics, the actual like robots that they're building, they can do things that I cannot do. This is not like in the future. This is right now.
Hmm.
So it's a matter of, it's a matter of life or death. You have to really decide whether or not you're going to grow and move with the times, or you're going to get left behind.
Yeah.
Which, a lot of people can be scared, but I don't think we should be scared. I think we should embrace it. Where we're going to go, that the world is changing, right?
Yeah, well, we know that they're coming up with things where they're gonna be able to put chips into people's brains, and there's a lot of controversy around that.
Yeah,
Situation of being able to be tracked, surrendering your privacy for
yeah,
maybe luxuries or just different things that being connected to AI will give us, being smarter, making us smarter, downloading information instantaneously
yeah.
into our brains, but
Hmm.
at what cost?
Yeah.
And I know this is all happening, but it's like, what's the balance here? I think we're all questioning where society is going to be in just even 5 years or 10 years. It's happening so fast. We're outpacing Moore's law here. I mean, any thoughts on this?
It's a little scary. I'm not going to lie. It's definitely something that, the Bible talks about it, prophecies talk about it, and so it's definitely always there in the back of my mind, to be cautious in that area, for sure. I know that there's not really any regulations behind that either, and I'm definitely not like one to really push a lot of regulations, but I think you do have to be cautious, and you do have to use common sense, and you have to use for those talents and the intelligence that you are given in order to make those types of decisions. I personally don't want an RFDI chip or whatever in my brain. Maybe in some art, to track the art and different things, I can see it being useful, but in my brain, it's not really for me. But I think this comes down to the next generation. For example, my kids, 18 and under, they're going to be the ones that are going to be making these decisions, and they're going to be living in this world. So I think it's super, super, super important that we connect with them, that we get into their brains and we formulate their minds in such a way that they're not uh, of this world, if that makes sense. The things that we have going on, like, they're not going to be around soon, and they face challenges that we didn't have to face. So I think it's really critical that we prepare our children for this world that they're going to be living in, because it's up to them. It's not going to be up to people. The people that are ruling now, they're not going to be ruling forever. They're not going to be here in 5 or 10 years. Who is?
Yeah.
It's important that we connect on a human level with our children in order to be able to be prepared for what's coming, for sure.
Yeah, and I guess the Matrix, what we've talked about, what was, the foreshadow of that movie that
Mm,
they put out, they talked about. I mean, it's becoming more and more real as we move
yeah,
forward here, especially as more things come online. The more we have, the more technology there is, the more stuff there is to be distracted by or to be controlled by. And it definitely, I connected with what you said there when you said not being part of this world, is thinking for yourself and really seeing the bigger picture,
Hmm.
and living your life, and pursuing happiness in the way that suits you. So I really like that. Okay, so let's talk about your advice for people to stay relevant in 2018 with blockchain, AI development. Kind of some closing thoughts here as to how to approach this. Obviously, we know that people are in debt, to their eyeballs going to schools. Going to college isn't what it used to be.
Yeah,
Students are graduating right now. It's a record $1.5 trillion of student debt out there. It just keeps going up and up, and
yeah.
you're learning things that are more and more archaic, especially as technology continues to move forward at a faster and faster pace. So, any thoughts, any advice that you would give people here moving forward?
Exactly, exactly. I mean, it's absolutely true what you said. I get a lot of slack from people, or I have gotten slack from, people, family members, friends, or whatever, that, oh, how come, you don't make your daughter go to college? Well, because college is a load of crap. They're charging you all this money, to teach you things that you don't need to know. Like if you can Google it, and I tell my daughter, if you can Google it, you don't need to spend a whole lot of time learning it. This is not something that you're going to do for the rest of your life. Think for yourself. Just because it's been the norm for the past 10, 20, 30 years does not mean it's going to continue being the norm. As a matter of fact, it's quite the opposite. And that's what I tell my little guys here, think for yourself, be your own person, and realize that just because things are like this today doesn't mean that they're going to stay that way. And so you really have to seek the truth. It's not a matter of taking what was told to you as gold or as gospel. You really have to take what you hear and interpret it for yourself and look around you. They talk about on the news, all this is all these crazy things going on, but you look outside and you know maybe it's not always what you see on TV. So I think that that's really important, to focus on. And when it comes to actually the Bitcoin cryptocurrency space, be open minded. Don't just assume that one thing is going to be around forever. You want to look at the different aspects of each cryptocurrency and see, well, where does this apply to my life? Maybe Bitcoin is good for this certain thing, for a store of value, for currency, for certain things, but you want to also look at the things that are coming after it and to see how they can apply to your life in a literal way, not just fugazi, but make it really work for you.
Okay, Summer, it's powerful words there. If you would direct anyone to any work, or where could people find your work or the work of Pure Blockchain Wealth, let us know where we can go. And again, thanks for coming on Crush the Street.
Nah, Kenneth, it's my pleasure. I want to connect with you soon on some. We're doing these co-working spaces, crypto co-working spaces, incubators. I feel like with all of the, resources that we have, it can kind of be a little overwhelming. A lot of people are finding information online or on channels like yourself, and it's great to get information, but sometimes you just need to have a local place where you can go to and meet up and see and talk with people in real life. It's a whole other thing. We met in real life, and I think that made a different connection for us. So I would encourage people to check out your local co-working spaces, and see if there's a way that you can connect with people there. I think that will really help. We're working out of Block Spaces right now in Tampa. They have meetups literally every day. Rosa and Gabe Higgins have been doing Bitcoin and cryptocurrency meetups every day for like the last few years. So if you're in Tampa, if you're in the Florida area, that would be one great place to check out. And in LA, Cryptos News, Crypto, Omar, and Elle are building up the crypto space in LA. So I would encourage people to check that out if you're on the West Coast. Give that a shout out, and connect with people there. You can find a Bitcoin ATM. You can use the Wi-Fi. You can ask questions, and you can really get those tools and resources if you want to take it to the next level. I would encourage you to do that. In terms of how you can find me online, yes, I've been working with Pure Blockchain Wealth, which has been amazing, by the way. He's really come up from the ground up. And so I would encourage people to connect with others that are of like mind or that are heading in the direction that they want to head. You can find me online. It's me, Boss Lady, pretty much everywhere. And as a correspondent for Decentralized TV and the Bitcoin.pub, you can find me on the Bitcoin.pub forum all the
All
time.
right, Summer. It's a me, Boss Lady. Thanks for coming on
You're
crushthestreet.com.
the best.